Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. I'm Alex Uy, here with Alex Rudy.
That is me.
And Farbode.
Howdy.
Today we'll be going over some of the top stories in the MLB offseason, as well as talking about two teams of the week, Colorado Rockies and Anaheim Angels, or Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or whatever the heck you want to call them. So,
yes.
Yeah. Our first story we have today is relating to the Padres, surprise, surprise, doing work, talking about their Will Myers acquisition.
AJ Preller.
Yes, AJ Preller.
AJ Preller is God.
Yeah, pretty much. That was a three-way trade with lots of prospects and pieces between the Padres, Rays, and Nationals. We don't have to go into too many details about these people because we don't care about many of them. But
some of them were just rookies, and the Rays got Souza, and I think Souza's a great player. He did really good last year in the minor league.
Yeah, he's one of the few players that I've heard of.
He's a bit old for a young guy prospect.
Yeah, he is. He's 25.
25, but he has all the tools to probably be, at very least, an average outfielder.
Well, Alex, in 3 levels last year, he batted .345 with 18 homers.
And 25 doubles.
Exactly.
And he crushed.
He had a 50-game suspension in 2010.
I think the problem is that the other guys they got aren't expected to really be much. The two teams each got blue chippers, so I don't know and it looks like the Rays are kind of going into a crapshoot because they have to give up two guys to Washington, Ross and Turner, who are both supposed to be major league players.
The funny part about Turner is that he's not supposed to be traded because he was just drafted last year.
Yeah,
he's not allowed to be traded till middle next year. So he's a player to be named later.
Yeah, but he's projected to be a major league shortstop, but he's really young.
Yeah.
And, Turner could be a number 3 starter, supposedly. No, sorry, it's Ross. Ross could be a number 3 starter. Wow. It doesn't look like Castillo, Reyes, or Rivera, who they got for Myers from San Diego, are expected to be impact players. So I like it for the Nationals and the Padres a lot. Looks like they both improved without giving up much.
It seems like a lot of these deals the Rays make were never saying, "Oh, that's so good for the Rays."
Yeah, exactly.
Except for maybe when they acquired Will Myers, and that's
not being that good for them, considering the Royals went to the World Series with Shields and Davis being gigantic contributors. So
the thing about the Padres is that they made all these deals without trading their solid starting rotation, their young solid starting rotation,
or any of their top 3 prospects.
Yeah, exactly. And Will Myers, in his Rookie of the Year season, he played one more game than he played all last year, but he hit a lot better. He hit 293 with 13 homers.
He was hurt a lot last year too.
Yeah, he was, but
he was already hitting 220 in the month or two before he even got hurt. So he started off really bad too. But I mean, he's a super prospect. Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. Everything's been him being great. So yeah.
Yeah, the Rays approach with lots of their trades in the past, 5 or so years, has been really different than the rest of baseball because they look at some of their most talented players and they look at, okay, if this guy is not realistically going to be a long-term contributor, we're going to deal him early, get as many different pieces.
That's the Rays because, they don't want to, their front office doesn't pay, so they get players before they hit their contract years and get paid big time. Get Price trade, he's a free agent next year. Longo's the only guy that paid a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Moore was barely paid. He signed like a 7-year.
The only reason they kept Longo's is they were able to extend him to a relatively cheap deal. And I'm guessing because Myers is only going to be going into his third year, and I don't think it's even arbitration eligible yet. I'm guessing they concluded that it was going to be really expensive in arbitration, and I'm guessing Myers refused to sign a long-term extension to take him through those years. And so the Tampa Bay decided he was too much to afford, because it doesn't really make sense. Even for the Rays, like they traded Matt Joyce recently too. That guy makes sense. But,
the Angels.
And they also traded Hellickson, who had been playing, I think, about to go in his 5th season in the majors. So neither of those guys had much left in terms of long-term cheap control, but Myers did. So clearly they were expecting him to be willing to extend him through, any extensive possible outcomes. So, again, money.
Yeah, a lot of that. Like, they look at what their plans are, and they say, okay, this guy realistically down the road is not going to be one of the guys that can stick around. He's not going to be a Ben Zobrist, Evan Longoria type of guy for us. So we're going to move him now, while we definitely know we'll get back at least a few prospects that we can go ahead and restart the cycle and try again, even though a lot of the times it doesn't work out. But, when you think about it, you only need 4 or 5 pitchers to work out for your rotation. A position player here and there, you might find a star. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're really trying to do.
Why I love this trade for the Nationals is that Desmond, Zimmerman, and Doug Fister are all going to be free agents at the end of next season.
They're all
and they just got 2 guys, and they're all going to get paid. Absolutely, exactly. They just got 2 guys who are clear eventual replacements, or at least depth for those 3 players. And they give up nothing that would help them really next year. They mostly give up a 4th outfielder when their outfield is already set. And I think quietly I think they're going to be stacked for next year because of this.
How long do they have Denard Span under control for? Is he?
All I know is that more than past next year.
Okay, that's good.
And they just signed, so the whole outfield is going to be together for at least 2 more years.
Yeah.
That's Bryce Harper, potential he has.
Yeah.
Denard Span.
Jason Worth, that $126 million. I mean, it's not looking so bad for them right now. It's looking amazing compared to the Carl Crawford deal that went on at the same time. So
this trade is similar to like what the Angels did for Kendrick. It's sustainability. It's to keep their team good in the future. They're trying to get young guys to make sure they're good in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're a pretty young team in general, though.
So
yeah, I know, but
they could have just
young guys with
these
control
guys out
money.
as long as they can, and then realize that they're in a bit of a jam.
Yeah, but they have
balancing
3 guys that they are in a jam right now. Desmond doesn't want to talk extension, and Fister and the others. I don't know.
Speaking of teams in a jam, what about that Yankees and Marlins trade? Yankees.
I don't think the Yankees are necessarily in as big a jam.
Well, I meant referring to keeping on to old players too long.
True. That was a flawless transition, by the way. I give you props for that one.
Yes, I was really thinking deeply about it, and I was really excited to get it off my chest.
Yeah. So go ahead and continue with that.
I think this is one of the few deals this off-season. Oh, not one of the few deals, but I think this Myers trade is it seems to be from most baseball analysis people and us, and also that what the real value is really clear, and how this will end up seems clear unless those Rays prospects that they got end up being great major league contributors, or like let's say that Cespedes Porcello trade, or a couple other moves and signings. They seem like the impact seemed very obvious right away. But like this trade, I think it'll be very difficult to judge, because at first glance, it's very hard to tell if either team won, and it's also weird because both teams seem to be dealing a lot, yet they keep on opening up new holes when they replace older holes. The Marlins just got rid of 2 of their key rotation cogs. Even though they gained Latos, I don't know if their pitching is as great as they might think. especially depending on where Fernandez comes back. And while I like Prado as a impact player, he's an excellent player on your team. They could have just kept McGehee, who is probably about the same value.
I like the trade for the Marlins.
And I don't know. I don't really get the point. Why not just keep McGehee?
Do you think this trade was
Stop
more?
calling him McGehee. His name's McGee. It's not McGee. Not McGehee.
McGehee.
No, okay, yeah. I think you could have just kept McGee, but the Marlins, like, I think this trade was. Do you think it was more to get younger for the Yankees? Because Evaldi's
100% for the Yankees.
100%.
Yeah,
To get younger. Yeah.
So Rudy, I wanted to ask you.
Evaldi had a great FIP last year, even though his ERA wasn't that good.
He went 6-14 and with a 4.37 ERA, but yeah, his WHIP was pretty good.
It was FIP.
You seem really positive about this trade now, Rudy, because I remember when you first saw this, you were kind of angry at the Yankees for getting rid of Prado for what seemed like not a great return until you kind of thought about it a little bit more.
I like the Garrett Jones type thing because Teixeira seems to get hurt every single year for the Yankees, and they need that. They haven't, and he's better than I don't even know who played first base back up. I think Brian McCann, who never played first base in his career, backed up last year. I think so. He hit 15 home runs last year, which I'll take. But Evaldi had according to Baseball Reference, he had his FIP was still, where is it? Yeah, I can see you out. His FIP, was 3.37, which is outstanding. So the Yankees are projected to have a great defense next year, and so that he should have an ERA in the middle threes. If his career trends continue to go, his FIP has gone down every year. His career ERA hasn't followed the same trend.
He's pretty decent potential. He could be like a 2 or a 3.
I could see him as a Fisterish type guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna be an ace, but
Evaldi's a very different type of pitcher than Fister.
Yeah.
Really, he doesn't get that many.
He's a power pitcher.
He doesn't get a lot of strikeouts.
He's a power pitcher though.
He was not a good power pitcher then.
Well, yeah, he had an ERA like 4.5, didn't he? So
he doesn't get a lot.
Obviously, he's struggling, but he's a young right-handed flamethrower that no team would really turn down if they had the opportunity.
What I don't understand is that from the Yankees, what they've done this offseason, if they just would have made no trades and just signed Jubal Cabrera to play shortstop, they could have just kept Shane Green, kept Prado, kept Phelps. They seem to have just made moves to make moves. I don't know if Didi Gregorius really and Evaldi moves the needle with the guys they subtracted from. And they also lost McCarthy, though that deal I think was an overpay. And they re-signed.
I think A-Rod's gonna do.
You saw it? You think what?
We're on to A-Rod now. Oh.
Yeah, it's the Yankees. That's a big question mark. A-Rod, DH. He was off all last year. I don't know how he's gonna do.
I think I'm willing to take A-Rod out of the equation in the plans, and if he ends up being somewhat productive, well, that's gonna be good for the Yankees. I'm not gonna count on it.
He's under contract through 2018.
I'm not gonna count on him being productive after everything that's happened. If it happens, then that's great. I mean, you might as well keep him around. You're not gonna get rid of him with that kind of money, but
I think it's simple, in my opinion. This is how I would manage it. If he rakes, let him continue. If he's awful and continues to be a cancer in the clubhouse, just tell him to stay away from the team. We won't release you. We'll keep you under contract, but just don't come anymore. Go hang out in Miami or wherever you want to live and just be away from the team. I don't think at this point the relationship is so toxic that it's abnormal and you have to treat it abnormally. So
I think they just tap abnormally, but at the same time not. You want to treat him normally. You want to treat him like any other player that you have and ignore his contract. If he performs, he gets to play. If he doesn't perform, maybe send him down to the minor leagues. But you're not gonna give him any special treatment because of the money that you give him.
Alex,
I don't understand that whole.
What do you think of of this trade for the Yankees or for the Marlins?
For what the Yankees are trying to do, their plan is obviously to get younger. They wanted to get a young shortstop instead of just sign a guy and put it off for a couple more years. They wanted to get a guy. They wanted to take a gamble and maybe get long-term use out of him. And I think this was just a natural next step in getting younger. With their starting pitching, obviously Martin Prado is still able to perform, but he's not the same kind of player that he was. He's not going to be the same. He's not going to be the kind of player he is now.
He started really bad in the first half of 2 straight seasons, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking of teams who are not trying to get younger, are actually doing the opposite, we'll go back to the Padres with that Matt catch.
Can't get away from the Padres.
Not this week. Not with AJ Preller doing all those moves.
The week of the Holy Father.
So, Matt Kemp going to the Padres. It was not a really shocking move for the Dodgers, but
I knew he was going to eventually get traded. I didn't know where he was going to go. I didn't know when he was going to get traded. But I feel like the Dodgers could have gone more for Kemp, even with his hip arthritis or whatever. The Dodgers could have gone a lot more for Kemp.
Well, how much of the? Oh, sorry. How much of
Archie Bradley? It's rumored for Kemp, which I think he's a million times better than Yaz.
That would be a lot better than Grandal and
a couple
other guys.
I love it for the Padres, though. Their defense is going to be really, really bad in a giant outfield next year. I think that's a very strange strategy in a very big park to play 3 negative defense.
They have 7 outfielders on their rosters that are major league ready outfielders. It's just really bizarre having that many outfielders.
Should we add in just the Upton trade since we're on the Padres anyways?
Yeah, this is all.
The same thing. They kept their 3 top prospects. I'm not sure if the names are. I know it's Austin Hedges and 2 other guys. I don't know if anyone else knows who they are. But
no, I don't. Sorry.
The 3 top guys in their system all stayed throughout this entire offseason, which I think is incredibly impressive. And they even just got Will Middlebrooks, too, for Ryan Hannigan, which was, I think,
basically for free.
Even if Middlebrooks never returned.
They just got Hannigan from the Rays, too.
Yeah, even if Middlebrooks is never as good as he was his rookie year, he's probably still an average third baseman or slightly below average.
Ever since he got hurt.
Yeah, but it's a great risk, and I really like what they did this offseason. I think they improved extremely. I originally thought they were going to be one of the 6 worst teams in the league next year, but considering their pitching staff is already clearly excellent, one of the better in the league, and their outfield will, at the very least, get a lot of doubles.
They're not going to have any problems with having outfielders to play. They've got 7 guys that I think are major league ready and battle tested.
I think
some of them are stars. So
they have I think Seth Smith. They might keep just because he's a left-handed hitter and they don't have any other lefties.
Do you think they're going to deal Maben and Venable?
I think Quinton is going to be the first one to go.
Oh, and Quinton too.
I think he seems like a perfect guy with the Orioles or the Mariners. I think Venable. I think maybe I would keep one because they're both guys are both good at defense, and I don't know how you can play Kemp, Myers, and Upton every day of the year in defense.
Why not?
Because they're horrible defensively, and Kemp gets hurt every year anyway. So you have to keep one of those guys as an injury replacement. But they could easily probably get a couple, relievers, mediocre prospects, or utility guys for those extra outfielders.
Yeah, definitely. But like AJ Preller, I guess he wanted to win Executive of the Year. Voting ends today.
I give him credit. He's trying.
No, that's a very selfish viewpoint. I'm sure it's not that.
I know. I'm kidding, obviously, but
yeah.
I give him credit for trying. They've made no moves the past decade really are really noteworthy.
The old general managers.
I'm really impressed with and their ownership is notorious for being horrible and cheap and just lots of bad mouth.
They're giving Padres fans hope again, which is always good.
The Giants right now. Why? They could be.
No.
I think they could be.
Are they better than the Dodgers?
Because
No,
Buster
Dodgers
Posey is magic,
might be the best
so
team in the
no.
major leagues. Sorry, what was that?
Buster Posey's magic, so no.
I don't know. I don't think I think if you line up position to position, I think the Padres rotation from top to bottom is better.
I mean, if you take into account all these other intangible things, like if you take into account other unmeasurable things like team chemistry and experience and
those don't really play a big factor.
Finding ways to get wins.
Season.
The Giants are a more complete team and they're more experienced in their ability to get wins throughout the year, even when they're struggling. So
they didn't make the playoffs the year after the last time they made the World Series. So.
Or the last time, time before that.
Well, I'm not gonna go ahead and assume that Buster Posey's gonna go ahead and get injured again. I'm not gonna assume all these things. If it happens, then that obviously stinks, and that's not part of their plan. But I'm not gonna assume that it's just gonna all go wrong for them just because it's the year after they won the World Series. It's kind of ridiculous. Just because it happens, it doesn't mean they're planning on going to the bottom of the division the next year.
It's also ridiculous that they won the World Series in 3 straight even years. So, you never know in baseball.
2016, here we come.
Bruce Bochy is ridiculous.
I think, speaking of that NL West, it's been extremely quiet in the offseason, as usual, is the Colorado Rockies, who, for the bajillionth straight year, have absolutely no freaking pitching to speak of.
No one wants to sign there. No one wants to sign in Colorado, or because their pitcher wants to play.
They don't they don't try hard enough. They couldn't even look. No one wants to play in Minnesota either, and they got to use Irvin Santana consecutive years.
Yeah.
Not that those guys were good in Colorado.
For the Rockies is that I think they should. The biggest thing for the Rockies is that I think they should just move on from Cargo, Tulo. Yeah, Cargo and Tulo. I think they should just move on from them.
Just go full rebuild.
No. I would actually say maybe half rebuild. Get rid of either Cargo or Tulo.
No,
to free up some
I don't
money.
see the reason in doing that. You trade one of them, you have to trade. You can't
Wait.
Middle. You
Why?
can't be because you can't be this team that's in the middle of either rebuilding or going for it, and they don't have the pitching, and their offense is deep.
Both of those guys have huge contracts. You free up some money for you free up some of that salary from
and you
either
get a
one
bunch
of them.
of prospects.
It's way more than getting rid of maybe. I'm trying to think of a player that is a star but doesn't make a lot of money, like Buster Posey. Like what is his contract right now? It's not even. He's not making too low money right now, is he?
He might be in arbitration still.
Yeah.
But no, basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't want to be stuck in the middle of rebuilding or going for the World Series, and they're not good enough.
I think they have to tear it all down.
Yeah, they're not good enough for the World Series right now. They need to build.
Tulo and Cargo's values, as good as they are and healthy, are going down every year because they just cannot stop getting hurt. They're never going to be a playoff team with those two guys.
Yeah.
And they already have two quality young guys to help lead the next team in Nolan Arenado, who's won 2 Gold Gloves, which is incredible, and Corey Dickerson, who's quality.
And Blackman.
Blackman was not very good after his insane April. So
he's still an above average outfielder in my mind.
So I think he's not that young though. So they need to
still.
Yeah. I think they go full tier. There's a couple good young pitching prospects who should be in the rotation next year. So I think they need to go full teardown when they have the chance to.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that
he has a $167 million contract over. It looks like 8 years.
Yeah,
he is not cheap.
Is Tulo a $200 million player? I don't even remember.
I will look right now while you guys can continue.
Okay, but basically,
sorry about that.
What I'm trying to say is that their roster right now is too messed up to try to go for it. So I think they should just, what Rudy said, just tear it all down and build again.
It's a lot cheaper than you guys would think.
Yeah.
Actually cheaper than Posey's. It's 7 years over 134 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Rockies are...
It's 6 years, 118 left.
Yikes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're gonna have to find a way, like, if any team, I've heard the Mets are talking to them, but they never get anything done because there's questions about, his health. Tulo's health. He went through hip surgery and no one knows how he's gonna come back from that.
Yeah.
Salary, all that stuff. Yeah, all those the salary of both of them. No one knows how they're gonna come back.
Fargo's owed $53 million over the next years.
Like,
total, that's not that
cheap. A lot.
Expensive. Cargo is definitely easier to trade, I feel like.
Yeah, because he's one of the best, like, he's just flat out one of the best hitters when he's healthy.
Yeah, his contract, well, so Tulo might be the best hitter when he's healthy. But at the very least, Cargo has had years where he's been healthy, like, I think he's less injury prone. I feel like, even, I could be wrong. And his contract's more importantly shorter, a lot shorter, it's half as long left. And that's huge. That's a lot less risk. And,
well, of course, he didn't have freaking hip surgery. Of course there's less risk.
He doesn't have the reputation of Tulo, and he's not the superstar either.
He's kind of a superstar. I don't know.
He's a star.
He's not
a superstar.
Well,
healthy.
I mean,
So
he was at one point.
No.
He's definitely less injury prone because whenever I turn on TV, I feel like I always see Tulo's sitting in the dugout hurt. I love him as a player, but I always see him hurt. He's really injury prone. That's a big risk for a lot of teams.
I mean, the thing about injuries is that they're such luck driven in a bad way. Like, they're bad luck driven. That
like Hamilton last year.
You can totally see. I would not be surprised if he got traded and never got a major injury for the rest of his career. If that happens. I mean, there are guys who are much less injury prone in their 30s than they were in their 20s and who turn it around. I mean, so, but I think they need to go, full tear down before these guys start
rebuild.
their values.
Just start rebuilding. I don't see them getting better or contending with this roster. They need to rebuild big time. Get rid of both of them.
Any last thoughts by you, Alex?
No, I'm good with the Rockies. Yeah.
Okay, so the Angels then.
All right. Okay, I got this.
So it's your special segment. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Angels expert in the house.
Oh yeah. Okay. When I look at their roster, I think their roster is pretty good. I mean, the second base is a question mark. You don't know how they're gonna put Rutledge and Green, how they're gonna play them. But Ibar, Freese, Pujols, Hamilton. Hamilton's a big question mark.
Freese hasn't really been above average.
Freese did good in the second half. Freese did really good in the second half.
Okay. That's really good in your mind, like 290?
He batted over 300 in the second half. But
he was awful in the first half, though. He's horrendous.
Yeah, he batted 190 in the first half. But
okay, so that equals what, 260 overall?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like, so he's Chase Headley basically.
Yeah, he is.
Is he good at defense?
He's not as good as Chase Headley, but
so he's, I don't even know.
I'd rather have Headley. I'd rather have Headley.
He's average. He's as average as, he's the definition of average.
Okay, here, I'm gonna tell you guys their rotation after G-Rich comes back mid-May. There's gonna be Jared Weaver, Garrett Richards, Shoemaker. CJ's a big question mark. I don't know how he's gonna do. And then Haney, Tropeano, and Santiago are gonna battle for like the fifth spot in the rotation. Santiago's this long relief guy that can help too. Their bullpen, I know Rudy, you don't think their bullpen's as good as, but I think their bullpen's pretty solid.
I also agree their bullpen kind of sucks.
I don't think so. Their bullpen had a 3.52 ERA last year. After April, after May, after like they made all those trades, they had the top 5 bullpens in all baseball.
Didn't they just trade another one of their relievers?
They traded Jepson, and he did good last
Who'd
year.
they get back?
They got Matt Joyce.
Yes. Yeah, I don't trust their bullpen, no matter what the stats
Oh yeah,
say.
no, I don't trust my bullpen, but I think they're solid.
Their bullpen's good, but I don't trust them to win games for us.
It's the Angels' curse. I've experienced this for the last many years.
There's got to be something wrong. It can't just be a curse.
Their offense is as good as you might. You know what's their problem? Not their problem, but and it's kind. I like their team in every way. There's nothing about them that I love. They're not great at any one thing. They're good at everything. And is that enough to win a World Series? It honestly could be. There's no doubt. I'm not saying it couldn't.
I mean, look at the Royals. Their bullpen was amazing, and their offense was
yeah,
hot.
exactly. They're really good at one thing. The Angels aren't really good at anything. So I'm not saying I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think it's interesting. The way they've been built, they don't really have any obvious strengths. I mean,
no, they don't. Like Morin,
interesting to me. You don't see many teams like that these days. I think maybe I don't think there is any team that really is like that. Maybe I don't know if there's any team that's like that.
Right now, it could be a 6-inning game for the starters because Morin and Ramos, the lefty they just got earlier in the off season, can pitch the 7th, and Morin did really well for the Angels in his first season, and then they have Smith and Street for the 8th and 9th, and then you have Grilly, Salas, Pistano, and then
Grilly's a free agent.
Yeah, but do you think they're gonna get him back?
I doubt it, but
he's old.
I think it'd be very smart to re-sign him. They need a veteran in that bullpen.
Yeah, exactly. I think. What about Pujols' production? I think, like with the way I've been. What?
Wait, Vinny Pistano, is that who you said is still on them?
Yeah.
Is he still on them?
Yeah, he is.
So they got him and Joe Smith from the...
No, Pistano was in a completely different trade. He was a steal. They gave J.B. Shuck for him.
Was that in the same year, though? Was that the year before?
That was this year.
Yeah.
That's strange. You don't see 2 separate trades usually with 2 teams for...
Colorado, I mean...
Relief, random fact, that's strange.
Okay, I have to ask you guys about Pujols' production. I think just by watching him the last 2 years or 3 years he's been on the Angels. He signed in 2012.
Smith was a free agent.
12.
Yeah, but they're gonna get Smith back. But,
yeah, they signed him as a free agent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. But Pujols, they signed Pujols in 2012. He's played 3 seasons for the Angels. He got hurt in 2013. But then last year he had a pretty productive year. 28 homers, batted .270, I believe. In the 270s. And then, over 100 RBIs. He was productive last year. I really liked the production he gave for the Angels. Obviously he's not gonna go back to his St. Louis days. But what I'm wondering, and what I think is that this year, and maybe the year after that is the last year Angels are going to get this type of production from Pujols.
Well,
yeah, the team is running out of time because who knows how much longer Weaver will use his magic.
Weaver's throwing like 84 right now.
Yeah,
so,
I have no idea how much longer that. I don't know his voodoo will last because there's not too many. He's like the 3rd slowest pitchers.
Jared Weaver's
Burley and Dickey throw.
He's in a class of his own. Yep.
So,
Weaver can throw 90, but then his average is like 86 around there. His curveball is pretty damn good now because of how slow he throws. But getting back to Pujols, I've literally watched him every game. I watched every game last year, every game the year before.
Wow.
He's getting old. He's the slowest man in baseball. I guarantee
him
you
and Billy Butler.
No, he's slower than Billy Butler.
Really?
Slowest man in baseball. Yes.
Really?
So, speaking of Billy Butler, I think
he runs on the back of his legs. He could probably run faster on his hands, but no. But
what about Billy Butler though?
I was just about to say that I think the production that you're going to get from Pujols in years to come is going to be very
similar,
Billy Butler-like. Very.
I think he'll be
lower power numbers, but then
he's still
one of the best I mean,
defenders.
looking at
He's never
defenders, and
his defense has always been amazing. He was a Gold Glove candidate last year. He didn't win it. Hosmer obviously beat him out. He's one of the best first basemen. But Pujols, he's a great player, but they're running out of time, big time with him.
Are they really that much better than the Mariners? Let's say the Mariners get
No,
one
they're
more
not. Right now they're neck and neck.
I don't
I like
think
the Mariners
talk about
more.
that. Let's say the Mariners. I mean, who are the top free agents? Let's say the Mariners get like Carlos Quinton or I don't know who the top outfielder like Norishikori Aoki. Aoki. I don't know his first.
Struggled through that. Yeah,
Ichiro.
Okay. I feel like I need to say this. I feel like it would be very.
Colby Rasmus.
I feel like it'd be a very good story for them to sign Ichiro and just have him be part of this team where they're finally in a winning mode and they can have their guy. It's been their guy for like the whole first 10 years of
exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Like you don't even have to start him every day. Just have him. Just let him be part of this experience with this team that took him in and made him a star, basically. He made himself a star, I guess, but he was a star for their team.
I am not allowed to like the Mariners, but what I'm trying to say about the Mariners, their pitching rotation is better. Their offense is neck and neck with the Angels.
I like it better.
You like the offense better?
Yeah.
For which team?
The Mariners. I like the Mariners better.
Can you just
I like the Angels offense.
Explain to me why? Because I'm like
this isn't the fan in me. This is the actual like knowledge. I like the Angels offense.
I think the Angels offense is a little bit better.
Calhoun was not your regular leadoff guy. He hit 17 homers last year, but
he's a good leadoff guy. There's nothing wrong with him as your leadoff guy.
No, I love him at leadoff. And then Trout batting second. They're thinking about moving to third, but I don't like that because he's gonna think like when he was moved to second, he tried to drive in more runs because it's completely different leading off than batting second, or batting second than leading off. Because when you're leading off, you're kind of the guinea pig. You're trying to get on base, score runs, do the little things. When you're batting second or after that, you're trying to drive in runs, you know? So Trout's home runs went up, his RBIs went up, his strikeouts went way up. He led the league last year.
Yeah, I wasn't really that. I think, honestly, I was a bit disappointed that he unanimously won MVP
in his worst season.
His career.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad. It was fantastic.
It's his worst. Not that it was bad.
Yeah,
exactly.
but
it was a great season, but it wasn't his best. And he says he's going to steal more next year, too.
I was a bit disappointed in him, actually. 287 batting average and 16 stolen bases is not what I thought he would do. The rest of his stats...
He didn't steal at all last year. Because
he needs to steal more bases, in my opinion. I don't know why he shouldn't. And his average I don't know. He's still the best player in Major League Baseball, but from what I read, his defense wasn't quite as phenomenal either. And
I mean, some of the errors that I saw him make were kind of like questionable. Like I remember there was once he ran into the right fielder, but that was the right fielder's fault. Still.
He might have already peaked, but.
No, I don't think he has a lot of work to do. He hasn't peaked. He has the strikeouts to work on. Around mid-August, he was batting about 310, and then it went way down with all the strikeouts. He went in this big funk, and then it never really ended until maybe the last week of the season before they clinched, and then after that, he still sucked. I love Trout, but I'm saying
he still had 290, okay? He didn't suck. Or 287. It's not like he dropped from 360 to 260. But going back to the Mariners for just 1 second, I'm telling you something of their depth chart.
Yeah.
They will, I have to just read what I said earlier. If Dustin Ackley is starting at left field, or Justin Ruggiano is their starting right field, if both those guys are starting at opening day, I don't know if they can make the playoffs because they have no shortstop hitting to speak of, no catching hitting to speak of. If they're about they use 2, then for their offensive minuses in their outfield, I don't think they can score enough runs. I think they have to sign Colby Rasmus for a one-year deal, maybe even as a bench player, but there's no reason.
Okay, let me ask you guys this.
Make playoffs with Justin Ruggiano.
If you don't,
I don't think that's part of their plan. It's just what is there right now. I don't think they're done.
Alex, if you don't think they're gonna make the playoffs, here, let me ask you this right now.
No, I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying.
No, I know, but like, who do you think? Okay, I know what you're trying to say.
Better than I didn't realize that was their outfield.
Okay, but let me ask you this: who's gonna win the division in the East?
In the West.
No, in the East. I'm going by division.
What?
No,
which East?
In American League East. Just go with
Orioles.
me. Okay, who's gonna win in the Central?
No. Okay.
The Central has three people.
Finish yours, Rudy.
Wait, you don't think the Orioles will win the East?
Do all yours first. Yeah,
Central,
I don't think the Orioles are gonna win.
The Central has three teams, right? The Indians, the Royals, and the Tigers.
Okay, the East is Orioles or Blue Jays, sorry. And then the Central, I'm gonna go with the White Sox.
Okay, now, I forgot about the White Sox. Now, do you think Seattle's better than Detroit, Kansas City, Cleveland, White Sox, or Toronto and Baltimore?
I think they're just as good as any of those teams. That's such a crapshoot. That's gonna be a hell of a race. That could
basically what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm trying to show you guys the wild card race if the Angels don't blow it and stay first. The
American League has really few complete teams. The Angels are probably the best team, right? And today, this second, are probably the best team in the American League.
I would have liked the Orioles if they kept their outfielders.
Well, that didn't happen. So.
Yeah, exactly. So.
They need to sign. I think they need to sign James Shields to make up for that. They're at least getting back Machado and Davis, and at one point they'll get leaders. So their offense should make up for losing Cruz and Markakis. I think it should balance out. I think, but they need to. I think they should shore up their pitching with at least signing one more starter.
One last thing about the Angels. Okay, what was I going to say? One last thing about the Angels. The Kendrick trade cleared up about $9.5 million. They're at $19 million above, below the luxury tax, right? And I've heard some things that they're gonna talk to James Shields, Max Scherzer. I don't think they're gonna get either of them. But if the Angels sign? Just think about it. If the Angels sign James Shields, how good would their team be?
That would put them above the Mariners in my mind.
I really
love the Mariners starting pitching. Is one of the big reasons.
You think they're definitely above the Mariners, or
they would definitely,
or they'd just be neck and neck?
They'd blow it out of the water if they got one of those starting.
I still think they would be worse than. I still don't think they'd be the fourth best team. I think they'd be the fourth best team in the major leagues with that.
Who's going to be the best? Like you just said, they're going to be the American League.
They'd be the best team in the American League. They would be the best team in the majors.
I know, but Dodgers are better?
It'd be Dodgers. I would put the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Nationals over them still. Just because
the pitching of the Nationals, the offense of the Nationals.
Teams have insane pitching, and I did, and great. I just love those teams. But they would clearly, if they got Shields, they would clearly be the best team in the American League. It wouldn't even be close because their pitching staff, once they got, assuming that Garrett Richards came back to be 90% of what he was last year.
Garrett Richards last year.
If it was 90% of what he was last year, it would just, and the Shoemaker was 90%. So just assuming maybe they go back, they decline a little bit from great career seasons. Their pitching would be unstoppable in my opinion. CJ was by far their worst starter. I actually think that Heaney's.
I don't think CJ's going to come back. What he was in the
right now, right? This technology
previous seasons, but I think he's pretty good. What? But I mean, what I want to say for the final thing is that all this stuff that they're talking to James Shields, talking to Max Scherzer, is that it's all rumors. It's baseball. It's rumors.
Yeah, you can't really project exactly what's going to happen. I mean, there's nothing that you can do. Okay, what's going on? Okay. Yeah. So you don't even know. Maybe the A's will shock the world and win the West with some kind of miracle too. So there's lots of.
That is a talk for another day, but
that is a talk for another day. Basically, I'm just gonna say magic.
That's the teardown of all. That's a Marlins-esque teardown that they're pulling off. I'm impressed, honestly. I don't even know what to say. It's really.
I don't know what to expect next year, but I think they know what they're doing. Question mark. So yeah. Anyway, they're not our team of the week. So let's go ahead and cut this one down right here. It's a nice place to stop. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I do want to maybe try to get a Q&A segment going with this podcast too at some point if people would be interested in that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that would be nice if we can get that going in the future. So let us know what you think. See you next week. Have a good day. Yeah. Bye.